I am. I am the money god. Are you surprised? I am the kingpin. Was I hiding? I am the Illuminati. I am a Freemason. I am Merlin. I am. People wonder why I claim all these names and titles and statuses. It's not that I physically portray or want these things. Think of them as metaphorical levels in a game that I'm playing with myself. As I reach a new character, I've reached a new checkpoint in the game. It just so happens that Merlin is the final level of the game. Merlin or God are the most powerful words I could find when it comes to the reference of a name. Elohim maybe fits in that category. But I am the money god. The polarity between money and God is so distinct that I couldn't do nothing but gravitate towards both of those because it feels like my life is consumed and evolved and wrapped around nothing but money or God. I'm sandwiched in the middle, so that's where I got the name. If you're wondering why I've been acting so crazy for the last 3 years, I can break it down to you and give you my side of the story. It all started in 2016. I was selling drugs. I was using a lot of drugs. I was hanging out with people I shouldn't, doing things that I shouldn't. And I had a change of heart. I had a uplifting moment in my life, and I wanted to help people rather than hurt people like I was. So I decided to take this girl in kind of as a project for myself and help her rid herself of her addiction that she was on. The path of addiction and clarity is a long one, but I took this girl in as like an inpatient care, and she was improving significantly. Her life was changing drastically for the better. And one night when she was sleeping, she started speaking to me like in code, like something was overpowering her body, and something was making her talk to me and tell me weird things, what I thought were weird at the time, but now they totally make sense. Anyways, she told me to meet my uncle and my father down by the river because we were going to go on a boat. There was some things going on financially, and we were kind of eloping. We were escaping, and so I was supposed to meet them down by the water. As I approached the water, which was about a mile from my home, there was nobody there, to my surprise, but myself. And the weirdest thoughts started consuming my head, and the weirdest things started to happen with my senses. I mean, I could feel the trees blowing in with the wind. I could feel the current of the water dragging towards me. I could see the lights flickering out at the corner of my eyes. And then I started hearing voices of my own voice. The voice told me to quit selling drugs or I'll go to prison. The voice told me to get off drugs. The voice told me to make life-changing decisions at a split second. And that was right then and there. The voice told me that I am God. Or that it was God speaking to me. I won't clarify. So I decided to give up the life. And I broke my marijuana bowl down there by the water on a rock and said, I'm done. Walked away with a totally uplifting and confused state of mind. After I left the river, I approached my mother's house about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I knocked on the door and I asked her, do I do this often? She said, I've never done it. And I asked about my brother, who's been deceased for years and years. Like he was there at the house. I was asking where he was at. It was the oddest thing. I've never done this. I was having a spiritual moment in time in my life. Anyways, after that day, things catapulted to the worst, and I was scared of the things that could potentially happen to me. The paranoia got the best of me, and my psychosis was engulfed in flames. I ended up being institutionalized 4 times in the mental institution and psych ward for threatening to kill and harm people that I love. But now it all makes sense. I was battling my demons, and that day at the river was what they call a Kundalini awakening. It was my awakening to reality, my path, my exit plan from the life that I was living. God warned me what could happen and what I should do, and I listened. I've had conflicting thoughts about whether or not I'm the devil or God, and that's what took me in the path of psychosis, and that's what made me threaten the well-being of my loved ones. But I never wished them any harm. I was just trying to get the thoughts out of my head because I knew they weren't pure. Now that I found peace of mind and clarity, I can explain my side of the story. This was something truly remarkable, and I wish that you don't have to go through it, but you could learn from the things that I went through and just accept that that's the way that it is. Think of your life as being predetermined already. Everything that you've experienced now is a repercussion of the things that you've already done. But what if all the things that you're going to experience have already played out too, and you are just following a path that's already laid out and has already been blueprinted? Well, that's the way that I live my life. That's the life that I live, unfortunately. God knew what his plan was, and he decided to tell me in advance to change my decisions and make a different path for myself. Otherwise, I would end up doing the same things that was not expected of me, doing the things that my uncle did, and I would end up in the places that he ended up, which is prison and homelessness. I'm going to be a multimillionaire. I'm going to be an enlightened person, a spiritual guru. But to be a millionaire and a guru, that requires a lot. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of persistence, a lot of failures. Just becoming wealthy is an astonishing feat as it is. I've come to realize the internet will tell you, you could say, I am a millionaire, and you're automatically a millionaire. That's not the case. I am a millionaire. I don't have no money in my hand. You get it? So saying things have power and meaning, but they don't necessarily manifest the things that you desire or give you the results without the action applied. The world is changing. Our universal consciousness is building up and collecting. And the people around you are getting closer to you, getting closer to me, and getting closer to our thoughts and perception. To understand the reality of the universe, you must understand the reality of your own mind and how it works. I've been studying the brain, the mind, the subconscious mind, consciousness, evolution, the creation, God, death, everything in between. I know this thing they call life. I know the game. I'm an expert at it. I may not have all these tangible assets that people seek to acquire to proclaim that I've made it. But to be honest, I've been basically retired since I was 18 years old. I've already made it. And if you want me to elaborate, I will real quick. Most of you are going to work from now until the time you're 65 or 70 years old, and then you'll collect a Social Security check. I've been collecting Social Security since 18. So since 18, since childhood, I've been doing nothing but expanding my vocabulary and my knowledge. I can work on my brain while you work at your job or you work in your career. My bills are paid by the Social Security, just like they will pay your bills after you're done working. My bills are just getting paid, but I've also just begun working. I'm not at the end point of my working stage. I'm at the beginning. You will reach the level that I'm at the end of your working stage, at the time of deterioration of your body, and the point of near death. Is that life? Is it really worth it? You are God. All things and everything is God. That includes you. That includes me. So why is it that so many people are confused by who God is and what God does, when God is everything and God does it all? Even as I speak to you, it's God's voice, but I am just a figment and a piece of God's puzzle. Your listening and comprehension of this message is also God, as you carry the energy of God and you are a creation of God Himself. So when I say I'm the money God, I'm just the guy that's in between the two poles, money and God. North and south, I'm in the middle. East and west, I'm in the middle. I am the money God, I'm in the middle. I'm content with that. I'm not trying to prove my sanity to nobody but myself, but I would like you to know that I'm okay and that nothing is wrong. Yes, I went to the psych ward, but it was all an experience that I had to endure for my own sanity. I had to know what my boundaries were and what my limits were. I had to know that things can spiral out of control in a blink of an eye, and to always double check where I'm at in my mind before I make rational decisions, or irrational decisions for that matter. I've been raided by the police. I've nearly lost my life dozens of times. And maybe that is partially the reason that I've been given this gift. But I don't want you to think of it as a gift. I want you to think of it as a blessing for yourself. I'm giving away a story for free that could be worth millions of dollars, but to me it's not worth nothing but the time that somebody takes to listen to it. If you want to hear my story, this is it. If you want to make some money and find peace of mind, enlightenment, wisdom, and reach infinite intelligence, follow my books, follow my YouTube channels, my blogs, my podcast, my Facebook post, and you will reach those things with due time, but you will. If you're looking, if you're seeking, you will find. Those who seek find, and those who acquire, or those who desire, will acquire. I am the money god. Money god is like bipolar brother. And that's why these names collaborate. Because they're opposites of each other. They're complete, misdirections of one another. And that's what I am. I'm a misdirection of what people expect. I want them to think I'm crazy because I don't trust people. Even my own family robs me of my time and my possessions, my family heirlooms. I know what's really out there, who's really out there, who's stopping my movement, who's been trying to stop my movement, and who's really behind the power in this world when it comes to money, greed, deception, war, famine, health, in all spectrums. I know who's responsible. In the end, it's God, but there's people, humans, just like you and me, that we could point the finger at. And I'm not here to point the finger at them. I'm here to show you that God's here to help, if you allow it. And we can fix all the problems, but we must fix ourselves first. If you understand the Buddha, he was an enlightened man, but he was also of noble status. He was the son of a king. He could have inherited the throne and ruled his own land in his own kingdom, and everybody would have had to obey his word. But he gave it all up for spiritual enlightenment, wisdom, and knowledge. I'm not going to give up every penny I have because I have upkeep and I have, overhead to keep control of, like my rent and my food expenses. But I will give it all up besides that for my love for God, my love for this universe, my love for our galaxy, my love for infinite intelligence. I want the world to know that I'm safe. I want the world to know that I'm probably one of the most dangerous people that will ever walk this earth, besides Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Putin, Trump. I'm up there with those sort of people. And, my name isn't claimed or profound, but I have the power and the knowledge of doing the things that they do, but I'm going to use my power for good. I have godlike powers, and I am a prophet. That's a prophet of God. Just like Muhammad, the angel Gabriel speaks to me and gives me the message of God, and I give the message to you. The majority of the time, you just don't want to hear it because it contradicts your current beliefs. Like, why me? Why could I talk to angels? Why could I talk to the non-living and living? It's just the way that it is. I took over my brother's responsibility for his child when he passed away. And since I have, I've been given a sixth sense, psychological power, a spiritual power, if you will, that allows me to do things that only most men can imagine. But it also brings us back to the point of what we know about the brain and what our bodies are capable of. Because maybe I didn't just earn this gift, maybe I've unlocked it. Maybe we all have this gift. Maybe some of us don't want to unlock it, but some of us need to unlock it to get past certain humps in our life and reach levels that only God could think of. I want you to understand that I care and love for all the people who are listening to this and all beings of this planet. But so many of them have done me wrong and dirty, betrayed me over these past years because they think that I'm crazy. I think that I'm crazy too, but I think crazy is a good thing. That's the difference between us. And yes, I was seeking some type of validity from the people who I was screaming at. I wanted them to be like, yes, you're right. And now I realize that it doesn't matter because I know I'm right. And I'm the only person that really has to live with whether or not the decisions are good or bad. So I'm not even going to listen to your word or your advice. I know I'm right. And I know that I'm sane. I'm giving you a story, and soon I'm going to give you the audiobooks that I've written for you. But when that time comes, you need to be dedicated and learn like you would as if they were a textbook from, your educational institution. You need to learn from these books and study from these books because the answers to your financial problems and your peace of mind are in those books, are in these videos, and are on my Facebook post. But the audiobooks alone will give you the answers that you're seeking for. I've done a lot of wrong. I choose to do right by my family and myself, especially my son. And that's why I'm making these videos, just in case something ever happens to me. In these books that he has a way of knowing who I was as a person, and maybe he could connect with me once I'm no longer in this physical body. If he understands and researches the information that I've left him, he could probably receive the spiritual gifts that I have, and he could talk to whoever and accomplish whatever he wants. So if you really care, these videos are just for me and my son. But if anybody's listening and catches a piece of information that they like, I wish you the best of luck. But this is for the Prince, the real Prince, the Prince of Peace that's 10 years old. You have the ability, son, to become the second coming of Jesus when you're 23 years old. That's 13 more years. 12 more years, 12 more years after your birthday this year. In 12 years, you'll be able to decide whether or not you want to be the second coming of Jesus or if you want to be the ruler of the kingdom. You won't inherit the throne until you're 40, but training lasts from age 23 to 40. The training of being the second coming takes the same duration of time, but doesn't come with certain monetary rewards. So it's up to you, son. Whatever you want, it's here. And I'm leaving you exactly what you need, and I'll leave you a blueprint day by day, word for word, what you'll need to learn. But you need to understand that you're the only one that's given this choice. They might be given similar choices and options, but they are not you. They are not the one. Your father, your biological father, my brother, is the Almighty. How did that happen? That's for him to know and us to just appreciate. But it's the truth. So that means you inherit the throne. I technically have the throne, but you inherit it as soon as my time is up. My time with the throne is simply just preparing you for which side of the fence do you want to be on. It's not necessarily trying to claim my right or my title or my status. It's preparing you so you don't get confused or have to go through the problems and the hardships that I went through. You don't have to end up like uncle. You can end up like dad. So just remember that things happen for a reason, but things happen to you because you were chosen. The other people that I'm speaking to have been chosen too, to lead you on your path and assist you on your journey. But if they are real God-fearing men, like I assume they are, the only thing they can do is praise your life and praise what you can do for them, because you truly are their Savior. I love you, son. From both dads. Just know that things are going to get better. But they had to get worse before they got better. I had to lose sight of everything before I realized what was important, and that's you. I don't care if I have to spend the next 20, 30 years of my life preparing you for the best 5 years of yours. It'll be worth it, because my life is dedicated to you solely. After my health, the number one priority I have is your health in your life. I have to put myself first, because if I'm not taking care of my own well-being, then how can I influence another? And you must remember that for any and all who are listening. Don't offer things that you can't give. Don't say you can do things for people that you can't, or don't try to be somebody that you're not. But if you're trying to be somebody that you're not, then more power to you. I wish you the best of luck. I didn't want to be the person I am. It chose me, like I said. It was almost like a predetermined path that I was destined to follow. And that leads me back to my son. I want to give him options. I don't want him to feel like he's destined to be this or that. He can be whatever he wants to be. But if he wants to be who was chosen for him, he is who I spoke of already. The world is changing. People's perception is changing. Consciousness is expanding. And people are waking up. People are just starting to realize that aliens are real. You realize that aliens can transmit into humans or communicate with humans through radio and satellite, just as we communicate between each other, except for they can do it from light years and planets away. You realize God and aliens have a significant presence on Earth, and these human beings on Earth are clueless to know half of what's really going on out there. They deem the term conspiracy theory for critical thinkers, so certain deceptions wouldn't be caught up. Well, the thing is, we're all becoming critical thinkers, and all the deceptions are starting to become true. It's not a conspiracy if it's fact. And this isn't fake if it's real. I stole the titles of Jesus, God, the Dajjal, the Antichrist. I stole the titles. I didn't steal anything physically, but I stole words that people would use to proclaim their name, because I knew that they were powerful and dangerous, and in the wrong hands they could kill millions. So I took the power over the names. I'm not the God, but I am a God. I'm not the Antichrist, but I am a Antichrist. Do you see? No matter what I say and what I do, it all comes back to you and who you want to be and who you feel comfortable with becoming. I want the world to know that there's something bigger out there than you and me. There's something that's communicating with me to you. Whether or not that's aliens or God, you be the judge. But I don't think of this stuff out of nowhere. I don't start speaking freely without nothing written down, just out of the blue to tell you I'm having a good day. Something is communicating with you personally to tell you a particular message. Maybe it's your level up or your game or part of your puzzle. Either way, it's something. I'm just the messenger. That's what prophets are. They just send messages. They throw kites from one end to the other end. That's it. Understanding my message and understanding my purpose is like trying to understand the complexities of what God really is. You'll never be able to figure that out. Your best bet is to just go with the flow and take in the things that you understand, and the things that you don't, just let them be. Understand that this world was meant for you. Understand this world was meant for me. Understand this world was meant for us. It's what we do with our time here that's important. The things that leave the most everlasting impact on humanity is knowledge in books. Half of my financial knowledge and well-being and IQ and literacy comes from a book from 1910. That's over 100 years ago. It has taught me almost everything I know about finances and about the creation of finances and wealth. 100-year-old book. That's power. The Bible has influenced lives all across the world in every aspect. Forms of the Bible are the most powerful books in the world. And they're just books and stories. Some of which are false and make-believe. Science fiction, if you will. Some of it is real. But a lot of it's just storytelling. And you went along with the story. The majority of the people have. The bad thing is the narrator has been Satan more than it's been God. God created Satan, but Satan plays a keen role in how we portray our lives. It's constantly a battle in our minds between devil and God, Satan and God, Lucifer and God, angels and demons. A constant battle. But to overcome that battle, you must fully succumb to it. You must be aware that you are even in a battle, and maybe you'll have a fighting chance of making it out alive. Eternal life is real. The carrying of a spirit or soul to another host body is possible. It's not essentially practical to your comprehension of thinking, but it is possible. And possible is all I need. I believe that I've been reincarnated. I believe I've been some very important people throughout history. And whether or not they remember itself or not, or I remember myself being those people or not, is irrelevant. I'm here now and I know what I know. And I have the intuitions and hunches that I have. Maybe you were somebody special. Maybe you were a president, or maybe you were a civil rights activist. Maybe you were your dad. Maybe you were your brother. Just maybe. That's all I got for this video clip. I hope you please like, share, and subscribe, and follow this path. There's going to be some interesting things of topic discussed in this little journey that I'm creating for you. But for the most part, I'm just trying to have it so if my son ever wants to hear my voice or wants to hear advice from me, rather than having to seek through the jinn or the unseen world, he can literally just go to YouTube and type in a question, and hopefully my name and an answer will be there. I love you, my son. Godspeed.